What's up, y'all? It's your girl Lola back with interviewing with Lola today. And with me, I have Jamila D. Smith, which is an author. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad that you are here with me to come on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here as well.
So, tell me about yourself.
Well, I guess you could say I'm a Jacqueline of all trades. So, in a nutshell, I'm an elementary teacher. That's my full-time gig. So I work with elementary English as a second language, grades third through fifth. So, what that stands for is English as a second language. I work with students who speak a second language, and my job is to help them learn English and get their reading and vocabulary on grade level. So that's my full time gig. But then on the side of that, my side gig or my hobby is writing my books. And now I'm also trying to visualize them into stage plays for
Okay.
students. So.
So, tell me, how is it being a teacher?
Well, it's not boring. I'll say that. And I like the population I work with because I actually learn from them more so than they learn from me. And not just like, you know, with interacting, but just social skills, cultural, you name it. Just it's so much. I learn from them on like how to modify and accommodate their needs in the school because every student's different. Everybody thinks that, oh, ESL, they're all put them all in the same box and this is how you approach them all. But no, everybody's different. You don't know their backgrounds or what their ability is or their level. So it varies. So I learn from them.
Yeah, you gotta love the kids, man. You gotta love the kids. Do you find it challenging sometimes teaching different languages?
It can be, but luckily with my district, we have interpreting services. So all I have to do is just hit this toll-free number, and I got an interpreter on the phone in like 2 or 5 minutes. And we pretty much can have our dialogue or conference, what have you, right there on the phone or through a Zoom. So we got
Okay.
resources.
So, how many languages do you know?
I just know some Spanish. I'm at intermediate level.
Okay. I
Yeah.
tried to learn Spanish. It didn't go. I know a few words, just a few. I tried to learn Spanish. It didn't go. It didn't go. I got a C in Spanish. It wasn't for me.
Well, that's not bad.
No, not really. I was excited I could count numbers, but that was
Yeah.
about say my name and how you doing and stuff like that. But it's
Right, right.
always good for kids to get involved. I have a 10-year-old, so I like the fact that she get interested into it sometimes. As far as learning a different language, so that is a blessing to be able to teach it to somebody else. Have a
Definitely.
second language and be able to teach it to somebody else.
Right.
Um, so tell me about some of the books you wrote.
Well, I have three stories. I got Cindy. That was my latest one. So Cindy is about a girl raised in foster care. The story is depicted in Brooklyn. So it takes you through her life journey from her trials and tribulations from early childhood up to young adulthood. And
Okay.
then I'm going to go in backwards chronological order here. So that was my latest one. Then my second one was Runaways with the four teenage girls escaping a group home facility. They're from different backgrounds. And it's kind of like a team version of Set It Off, Girl Interrupted. So we got a Cleo in the group. And then my first one was Sprouting Seeds. And that was more kind of like the Color Purple genre. So a great grandmother. She's telling a life history to her great granddaughter. And it starts out when she's 15 and takes you up to present day. That
Oh,
was my
that
first.
sounds very interesting. So,
Thank
you
you.
guys want to show us for those who are
Sure.
watching?
Absolutely. So I have my Sprouting Seeds and I got my Runaways, the butterfly one. And I ran out of copies of Cindy. She always sells fast. So, but
Okay.
you can find her
Hey,
on YouTube.
it happens. It happens because I swear I have one, and then somebody will say, "Well, hey, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone."
Right.
Um, what inspired you to start writing books?
I actually became motivated, I guess, probably in elementary school. I'm going to go way back to maybe fourth grade. My teacher, Miss Blanchard, she actually remembers me too. She used to have us write in journals. And I guess that was her way of having us, have quiet time, so to speak.
Mhm.
But I think it was more of quiet time relaxation for her, more so than for us, because she would write in her notepad. And so everybody would just pretty much just write daily entries, like, hey, I went to the store this weekend, me and my sister went to grandma's house and we fought, duked it out. Well, I would just write like, stories, like fiction stories, like Alice in Wonderland type of deals. So she would actually provide feedback in our journals. She read everybody's entry. I love her. And she would respond with little comments. So if you had a bad dream, she would say like, oh, I hate bad dreams too, or great imagination with this story. So like I was like taking her comments to heart, and it just kind of grew from there. So I just became a storyteller in my notebooks. And as I passed on to middle school and high school, I pursued it even more from then on. So she planted a bug in my ear with that, basically. So
So, where can you find your books?
you can find them on YouTube. I do have a couple read alouds from each book. I read an excerpt, and then I'm on Amazon and Audible, um, and also in Google Reads as well, and my website at Weebly. So I've got.
Go, girl. Check it out,
Thank you.
girl. That's
I'm all
what's
over the
up.
place.
What can you tell me that inspires you
I
as
think
an author?
um, I'll just come up with ideas. Like I can remember one time I was in my friend's dorm room back in undergrad. We were just watching TV, just killing time. It was late at night, and I remember I was just sitting on the floor watching a little small box TV. We had nothing to do, and I was just it's like I come up with a story idea and I have to speak it out in fruition. So basically, it started out when I was taking a sculpture class, and so we used to have to outline an object we wanted to draw. Well, I was just experimenting my notepad because I can't draw for a lick, whatever. So I started out, I sketched a little girl's face, and I experimenting with her complexion. I gave her pigtails and a little ribbon and whatever. And I said, I think I want to write a story. And I titled the picture, my notepad, it was called Cindy. And so Cindy was supposed to be like this little 8-year-old girl that I created on this little notepad or the sketch. And then I tried to get creative and draw a 12-year-old version of her. So I was just talking. I said, yeah, I'm going to write a story about Cindy. And I think she's going to do this and do that and do X, Y, and Z. And when she's 12, she's going to go to such and such place. And so my friend was just listening, like, yeah, this sounds interesting. I said, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to go upstairs. And I went up, opened my notebook, and just cranked it out. And I put my blood, sweat, and tears in that notebook every day, probably for about 6 or 7 months. So it was like a night routine. So, go to class, go to work, come home, shower, eat, get the notepad open, write a chapter, and then tomorrow do it again. So I basically came up with the idea from from my notepad, and I was just speaking out of my ideas, and I wanted to hurry up and just put them on paper. And that's pretty much what I did.
Yeah, that's what's up. Because being a writer myself and knowing that your imagination, these characters, you got to get it out. Do you ever
Yeah.
find yourself having writer's block sometimes?
I don't know if I have writer's block, but if I did, maybe I would just like put it away and come back the next day. But usually, once I thought it out from start to finish, it was there. But I would just have to pace myself because, I would get tired. And I always would say, my hands in control. My hands, sometimes I can remember when I was a kid, I would write super fast because if I took my time and wanted to go back and edit, oh, I misspelled that word. No, then I would lose it. So
Yeah.
I would just let it flow. And so as I got older, I knew that I didn't have to rush. Whereas when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Miriam, get it out, get it out. My hand would just be like a wind whirl. But as I got older, once I knew it up here, from start to finish, it was already there, but I could just pace myself. I was in better control by then. So, so that never was an issue.
So do you like to? I ask people this all the time. Do you like to write to music? Is there a certain genre that you like to listen to when you write? See,
I
for
think
me, it would be R&B.
um I don't remember using music, but I would have a TV on, but I would just tune the TV out. It could be a Lifetime movie to Disney flicks, what have you. I mean, it wouldn't matter. My mind was in my story, in my chapter. And it was just one of those things like a check off, like, okay, I made lunch for work tomorrow, got my clothes ready. Well, I gotta write a chapter next. So everything was tuned out. I was like regimented on that schedule until my story was literally finished. Um, yeah.
That's Okay, because some people write to music, some people need it quiet, some people need it, So I like to ask people that, being like I said, being an author myself, I like to ask different authors on, you know, their mechanism on writing, what they like to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being a teacher with children, have you ever thought about writing a children's book?
It's crossed my mind every so often now. Because I know for a while I used to always want to gear towards teens, like teen girls or adolescent girls. But then there's a girl at my school, she kind of tugged at my heart a little bit because she's a third grader. Well, she'll be in fourth grade now. We're heading into the new school year. And she shared some of her stories with me. So now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I need to back up and try to reach a younger audience as well. So it recently has crossed my mind to start a children's book. So I wouldn't mind exploring that. I do have some previous stories I had created when I was a kid, and I kind of remember them, so I could plug at them. I just need to do it.
You'll get it done. Trust me. I think it'll be interesting because you're around kids all the time, so you
Right.
get to see what they are interested in and the pros and cons. Okay, like this would catch their attention. This probably would be boring, So being a teacher kind of helps because writing my first children's book, I didn't at the time. I'm like, I don't know if the kids gonna like it, but they ended up really enjoying it. So I push for that, the teachers to get more involved and write books, because it'd be dope for you to be able to read your own book to your classroom. That's something that they would take with them all the time. Or they'll tell you, like, my teacher, go home and tell their mom, my teacher wrote a book and she read it to the class. So it's something for them to also brag about, get my teacher better than your teacher because she wrote a book. You know how kids are. You be around them all the time. So it's like, and it boosts your confidence as well,
Sure.
because you're getting more interactive with the kids. So that's good. Um, when did you publish your first book?
My first one, I think I want to say I published maybe, it's been some years, '06, '07, somewhere around that time
Okay.
frame. And it was one of those like, because for a while, I wasn't even thinking about publishing, copywriting, you name it. I was just like do it as a hobby. So I would just write stories, share them with a couple friends, family members, and then just shelve them and then crank out another sheet of paper and do it again with another story. So I had no plans of being where I am today with my stories. It was just something to do. And then, over time, then people would plan ideas. Well, why don't you copyright? Okay. Well, why don't you publish? Okay. Why don't you make a movie? All right, I'll do a movie trailer. So it's just one thing
Yeah.
after another. Um, so yeah, I came a long way from where I started from. But
So, what are some challenges that you had to face in becoming a published author? Are you self-published?
I am self-published.
Okay.
I guess the challenge would be, the budgeting, and I'm sure it's much higher now than it was, years before. So at that
Yes.
time, it wasn't like I could just call the agency, be like, hey, here's my script. I'm ready to go. I'm right at it. Like, no, it was challenging because, I had to work up a budget. Then I had to kind of like do some background work, like trying to pick which one was a good match, what's a good fit. And it was all new to me. So I was like, publishing, where do I start? Who do I call? And that sort of thing. Then I was on top of that, I had the fear, I was paranoid because I heard so many horror stories,
Yeah.
especially when I saw
Yeah. It
the
was scary.
Fantasia movie. I watch a lot of movies, but Fantasia, she had her dad had somebody had stole his music, and so
Oh yeah.
yes,
Yep.
I was like, oh my god, I don't want that to happen to me. So when the publishers, I had reached out to them, and then they were contacting me, then all of a sudden I was ducking and dodging their calls left and right, and I was just terrified, and because it was all new to me, even though I was making myself miss out. And then I remember my friend told me once, she said, the only person who's holding you back is yourself. And when she said, I mean, my mouth hit the floor when she said, I was like, oh my God, really? You're right, And so then I started making out those calls again. So my challenge was overcoming that fear. I would say that was my challenge because it was all
Yeah,
new.
it's a scary thing when you're jumping into the. I tell people all the time, like publishing a book is not what y'all think it is. It's really it takes a lot, and then when you're
Yeah.
self-publishing, you're self-publishing is a lot compared to having a traditional publisher. But people that don't write books and don't publish books, they just feel like, oh, you wrote the book and then they're gonna put it. No, you have to really put forth effort into that book. We have to reread these books, rewrite these books.
Yeah.
We have challenges. We might fall asleep on the laptop and delete a whole page, and
Right.
they'll. So it's just people don't understand how deep the book world can get,
Yes.
and how conniving people can be in the book world because they
Mhm.
take advantage of our vulnerability coming into the game, and when you
Right.
don't know right away. So
Mhm.
it is hard when you step out there and do that.
Very true.
Um, do you find it like, do you have any difficulties with sometimes juggling and writing, juggling at school and writing? Because, you're a teacher. And do you find it like trying to balance it sometimes?
I don't write as much now because I'm now in the adapting stage. But years ago, when I was in the writing phase, it was just just part of my routine. Like I said, I would because I was in in early years of college, even up to like a few years into grad school. So I had like this daily or weekly routine. Go to class, go to work, come home, shower, have dinner, and start my chapter. So it was just part of my nightly thing. Almost like it's part of my homework assignment. I know I'm gonna have to read a chapter in this textbook over this boring philosopher that I got to have a quiz on tomorrow. Then next, now let's do something fun. This is my free time, so chunk out a chapter.
Yes,
So,
I need your discipline, girl, because man, I be all over the place. Like, okay, I'm gonna write tonight for a couple hours, and then my show come on, and I get easily distracted sometimes, and then my phone ring, and it's like, I'm gonna call you back. I'm writing, but I'm watching the show, so it's like, have that discipline. So that's what's up. That you can discipline yourself. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm working on it. I tell people
yeah,
all the time, shit, I'm
yeah,
working on it.
yeah.
I'm not perfect, but it's like, huh. But my what was that? I was gonna ask you. Where are you from? I didn't even get that.
Oh, I'm originally from Massachusetts, Rainham, Massachusetts, which is a small city outside of Boston. And then, years later, I moved to Southern Indiana, and that's where I am now. So
Okay.
I claim roots from both areas, basically. Like the Boston roots, where I went attended early years of school, and then here where I am now in high school, where I graduated from. So it's like reaching from both worlds. So
If you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I would say there's no limit because, especially with marketing, and it changes. So don't just stick with one formula, saying, so to speak. So let's say if I were to say like, oh, I just only want to do paperback and that's it. I'm good with paperback. Well, no, you got other audiences. You can do digital. You can put it into visual. So I would just say to my younger self or anybody who wants to be inspired to write, think outside the box because writing and literary arts is art. There's no one fine way that fits in the box. You have different types of target audiences. And so there's no limit. Don't limit yourself and don't just limit yourself to one audience. It's okay to reach out to others and be broad and be creative.
Okay. Okay. I see you brought books with us today. So
Yes.
tell Runaway. Let's talk about that a little more. Share a
Sure.
little more. I know you said, so is this a fictional story?
It is
Or
fiction.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me, come on, book the book up. Show us.
All
Show us
right.
what you got, girl.
So here is Runaways. And my sister had designed my book cover. We were
That's
just
cute. I like it.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, she really got into it. We were just killing time when I was visiting for the holiday one weekend, and she was all like, "Let me do your book cover, please. Let me do it." And I was like, "Okay," had no idea what blueprint to start with, and we were just experimenting with colors and images, and that's how we came up with my Runaways. Literally, I kid you not.
Would you like to read a little bit for us?
Sure. So as I said, Runaways is the teenage version of Girl Interrupted Set It Off. So we got girls from different backgrounds. They're now placed in a group home facility and they want to escape. So I'm going to read the part where they're trying to escape from the facility.
Okay.
Alrighty. Y'all, let's roll, Rihanna ordered when she retrieved what she needed. Wow, Amy replied, impressed. She took one last look at his limp body and walked out with her friends. Just when they were about to head down the stairs towards the basement, Sherry Wilson, the biggest resident snitch there was, appeared. She greeted them in the hallway in a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. A bag of microwave popcorn was in her right hand. It was obvious that she struggled with sleep. Yet tonight of all nights, she had to be in their way tonight. She was an overweight adolescent with thick glasses and long, stringy brown hair. What are you doing? She asked. None of your damn business, Biggie, so back off, Rihanna snapped. What the heck does it look like? Simone demanded, still irritated from earlier. We're playing hide and seek, witch, Melanie said brutally. I know what you're up to, but there's no way you guys will ever make it. You know Mr. Thompson won't let you get away that easily, Sherry said with a smirk. We can't if you keep your big mouth shut, Melanie spat, stepping up in her face. Oh, wow. What are you going to do to me? Sherry asked sarcastically. She was truly terrified, but she didn't want to let them call her bluff. She knew the reputations that these girls had. Too much word got around about the fight that occurred with another girl not long ago. Yet Sherry knew that she had already dug a deep hole for her grave. I don't think you really want me to answer that, Rihanna said. I'm about to make you become somebody's bitch, Melanie threatened. Before Sherry knew it, Amy snatched her bag of popcorn and began to devour it. Melanie pushed Sherry up against the wall and shoved her so hard that she stumbled into the bedroom. Sherry didn't realize that her door was not fully closed. Hit the lights, Melanie ordered. Simone snapped them on instantly, and Melanie grabbed a pencil from Sherry's desk. She almost jabbed it into Sherry's neck. Sherry was petrified, but she still tried to remain a brave warrior. Go ahead. What are you waiting for? Sherry cried. I ain't a punk as you think I am. Not for real. You're going to help us, and you're going to shut up, or be ready to see your insides slashed on these walls. I'm not freaking playing with you, Melanie threatened. She edged the weapon deeper into Sherry's skin, causing her to whimper. Amy went to Sherry's hamster cage and grabbed Angel. He's perfect. I could sacrifice him, Amy said, smiling. No! Sherry cried. Shut up. You ain't talking so much now, are you? Rihanna ordered, covering Sherry's trembling lips. Okay, Sherry relented. I won't say anything, I swear. They shoved her out of the room, with Melanie headlocking her. Melanie still had the pencil close to Sherry's vein. One wrong turn could hit an artery instantly. They crept down the stairs towards the staff's office. Go ahead and tell us the combination. We know that you know it, Rihanna demanded, pointing towards the locked safe in the office. Sherry had access to the combination lock since Mr. Bruno often paid her money from the safe for sexual favors. He always gave her extra privileges such as having access to the office supplies and money from the safe to buy extra sweets. He knew that she had a low self-esteem or the weight issues and realized that bribery with petty cash from the office would win her heart for friendship. Rihanna always knew what went on whenever Mr. Bruno assigned specific girls to the office, but she never said anything. Okay, it's 3:27:51, she recited desperately. You better not be bullcrapping us, Rihanna fired. Angel's coming with us for sure, Amy said, cradling the hamster. She was beginning to like him. I promise you, it's the right combination, I swear, Sherry confessed. Hey, we better hurry up, Simone warned, glancing around. She was ready to go. Don't worry, we'll be rolling out real soon, Melanie reassured. Her grip remained around Sherry's neck with the pencil wedged at her vein. So that's Runaways. That's what
Ooh, I'm like, man, you are fine. I'm sitting here like, go girl, okay. Have you ever thought about reading for other people audiobooks?
I've been asked to, and so I'm open to it if anybody needs me to.
Man, I might want to let you read my book because I'm like, I love the energy. I'm sitting here like these, like, I know the people that's gonna tap in later gonna be like, oh my goodness, like we gotta get. I'm pretty sure y'all better get that book because I want it. I want to read it. I want to find out what's going on. The energy, I love it. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself like, yeah, I think I want to see if she want to read my book. Definitely can tell you a teacher, so I know your class be lit. I know your class be lit because man, that's what's up. I'm sitting here like, Man, you got me ready to. What happened? Oh, yes, that's a very interesting. I can say
Thank
that you
you.
definitely have my attention. Like,
Thank you.
I'm definitely gonna have to download the audio and listen to that while I'm at work or something because I love it. And you read it for your audio?
I have a voice actor who read it for
Oh
me.
man, you do your own for real.
I
I
should.
think you should think about that next time because the energy you putting out and it'll be your own book. I think so you know exactly the emotion and how
Sure.
you want it exactly to be because you had me like I just that's what's up. I love it.
Thank you.
Um, do you plan on having a part two to that or is it just a
No one's really asked me that
standalone?
before. I never considered a part two. That was just pretty much the way it ended. That it just ended there. But I might have to explore something for that. You just planted an idea.
Yeah, because I have a book called When the Tables Turn, and a lot of people ask me, "You're gonna make a part two?" And I'm like, "Well, the way I ended it for it to be done, you know." But
Right.
then you gotta give us a part two. So I'm thinking about it. That was the very first book I published, so it's like I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
But you should consider it.
I may
Definitely
just.
consider doing audio for people because the energy. I'm telling you, people, gravitate to that, and I love it because it had me interested, and it makes me want to be like, okay, I want to check her book out now, like because the energy, the storyline, you like, so you definitely got that going for you. So
Thank
for the
you.
next book,
So the next one was Sprouting Seeds, and
okay.
that was the great grandmother who's telling a life history to a great granddaughter. So kind of think about like the color purple genre. And it's
Hmm.
funny when I wrote Sprouting Seeds, I was actually in the middle of writing Runaways, and I had put it away for several years. So I was kind of like taking a break from writing, so to speak. And so when I went to this after school training program, the facilitator was pretty much sharing strategies on how to get the kids engaged when they come in from school because they're going to be rowdy and hyper. You have it. So she said, set them down on the floor in a little circle, have circle time and read. So she picked up a book called Chicken Sunday, and we're supposed to be looking at how she's getting us engaged. Okay, she's got us sitting on this side of the room versus that side. Well, I got caught up in the story that she was reading, which was totally irrelevant to why I was supposed to be there. But it was a cute story. It was a kid's story about a little granddaughter who's telling stories how she would spend her summers with a grandmother out in the country. And so it was really cute. And so I'm like, I want to write about a grandmother like her. And so I was intrigued with that. And so right after that, when I got home from work, because I'm old school, pulled out a notebook and just started that day, and left Runaways alone for a while, and just poured my heart and soul into Sprouting Seeds. And then that's when I went into the next stage to get it copyrighted and published, and all because of Chicken Sunday. That's the name of the story.
It's crazy. The smallest thing, how something can inspire you to create, the magic
Mm,
that comes from your imagination. That's why I tell people all the time when they say, well, I want to write a book and I don't know what to do. Write it down first. You can
yes.
put it all together later. They be like, what? I'm like, yeah, write it down. Even if I catch myself sometimes and I write, like I said, I write urban fiction novels and sometimes my characters, and it's like, okay, this right here might be for chapter 5.
Hmm.
Whenever I get to chapter 5, this is what I want chapter 5 to be. So I might write it and then I got to reread it. So I tell people all the time, you're going to reread your book so many times because you're going to change so many things. And you got to have the confidence when you're finished. Once
Yeah.
you have that, this is what it's going to be. I'm not changing nothing else. And I'm going to send this out there. So like people don't understand, like, right. And they ask me, like, what am I supposed to do? Write it down. Because I'm old school too.
Yes.
It's like when I'm on my computer, I can type it or whatever, but then it's like that notebook, I'm gonna get them pages out. I'm my
Yes.
hand be going. So it's a difference. Um, is this based on like can people read it and feel like this is a story based with their grandmothers and whatnot?
Definitely. I've
Okay.
had a lot of people share. They would mention it reminds me of my family, or a typical family that I knew. I'm gonna go to a family reunion or somewhere along those lines. Yeah, I've had feedback, and it's so nice. I wasn't really expecting that, to be honest. I just, again, these were just stories I would write and I would shelve them, just something to do. People do crossword puzzles or stitch
Yep,
work.
yep.
I would
I
just
I
write
understand
and put them
completely.
away.
Me too. I was never that was becoming a published author was not a part of the plan,
Right.
but that's the journey I'm on now, and I love it. I love the fact that people are interested. I love the fact that they want to read my books. I love the fact that they look at me like, okay, you take it too long for the next one, and so it's fun. It
Mhm.
really is when you can turn your hobby into a career. Can you
Definitely.
hold the book up for me,
Sure.
for everybody?
My sprouting seeds.
Okay,
Mm.
sprouted seeds.
And I
Want to read
can
a little bit? Want to read a little bit for us?
absolutely. So I'm going to read the part where great grandma, her name is Cora, and it starts out when she's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Cora's it's very interesting. I'll let you be the judge of that as I
Okay.
finish this excerpt. So,
Let's see what Cora about to do.
New Orleans, Louisiana, 1920. It was a hot summer night in June when I entered the bayou for the summer dance. I wore my fitted cherry red strapless dress that showed my curves so well and matching pumps. My long wavy black hair was twisted up into a French roll, and I even had a little makeup on. I never liked wearing much makeup because I hated having clogged pores. But that night, I wanted to appear grown up. I was only 15. Everyone there was dancing the jitterbug as the jazz band played his heart out for the crowd. Tessie and I walked in drinking in the atmosphere. We loved it, especially since we weren't allowed to be there in the first place. Wow, look at that! Tessie laughed, motioning towards a couple who twirled each other. The young man picked up his dance partner and tossed her up into the air. As he caught her, she slid between his legs. Tessie was my best friend. We did everything together back then, including sneaking into juke joints when our parents were away. Bonjour, mademoiselle, a male voice greeted. Tessie and I glanced at each other and giggled. She grabbed the greeter's extended hand and he whisked her off. As I watched them jitterbug together, I suddenly spotted a handsome face. His caramel complexion and light green eyes mesmerized me. His hair was soft and curly, and his mustache was trimmed neatly to expose his beautiful smile. It wasn't long before our gazes met and locked. He suddenly left his dance partner and immediately came my direction. The girl he was dancing with turned sour rather quickly, as his absence caused her to fall on her bottom. Bonjour, mademoiselle, he said in his French accent. Hello, I smiled. I liked him right away. He didn't have to ask my permission to dance. I accepted it right away by reading his pretty green eyes. As we danced, his former dance partner became envious. She occasionally yelled for his attention, but our chemistry invaded his hearing. Philip, she snapped. The jazz band continued to play and we danced, enjoying ourselves. Philip Charles, you get away from that woman right now, she demanded, growing more furious. Philip's hands became tighter around my waist. Before I knew it, he kissed me. She ran in between us and suddenly slapped him. I expected him to become angry, but he didn't. Instead, he laughed arrogantly. Then she turned to me. You need to get home, little girl. This man don't know how old you are. I don't want to, I said defiantly, now enjoying the challenge. Philip's eyes widened like half dollars. How old are you? He asked. Old enough to be your woman, I said indignantly. We, he said coyishly. As we had our dispute, people began to stare. A few soon chose to leave, fearing what would happen next. Philip Charles, take me home now, she demanded. But you heard what she said, Minnie. She's not ready to leave. And I'm not either, Philip answered. We started to dance again until she grabbed a glass of whiskey. Minnie splashed her drink, soaking his black and white pinstripe suit. I said I'm ready to go. Now, Minnie yelled. Not only did Philip get wet, but some of the drink splashed onto another man who stood a few steps away from us. The man turned around thinking it was from the gentleman who stood beside him. Then all three men started to fight. Soon the whole crowd became violent and drinks were splashed everywhere. Everyone inside the room became soaked. Furniture was thrown and punches came from every direction. I stood and watched with fascination and amazement. This was funny to me. Philip pulled out his handkerchief from his jacket pocket and tried dabbing himself dry, still laughing. His laughter only added more fire to Minnie's fury. She tried to slap me, but Philip blocked her blow. Let's get out of here, he said. Okay, I agreed. So that's my sprouting seeds.
Cora, a little something, something.
Right, right.
Oh man, I love the energy in it. Like it's like you write where we can paint the picture in our minds. I love books like that when you can read and you see it. You see it all going on right now, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank
If
you.
nobody told you today, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you
Because
so much.
it's not easy to write a book. It is not easy to gain people's attention. You can write a book all day long, but if it's not interesting, nobody want to pick it up.
Exactly.
And I'm grateful to have you on the show because now I know what to add to my get list. You know what I'm saying? And then for those who read books and that's going to watch and hear it later, it's like, man, you dope. You got the gift, girl. You got the gift.
Thank you.
It's not easy. Your imagination, because people don't understand, man. It's up here and it's
Right.
stuck there. We can have a whole full-fledged conversation, and I'm thinking about some characters in the book, and I'm writing a book right now in my head. I can't wait to get home and write it down on a piece of paper.
Exactly.
I hear you, girl. I hear what you're talking about, but it's like people like you ain't listening. I'm listening, but I got something over here. I got to, let me write it down. You ever catch yourself thinking about something at school or out and about, and you be like, "Oh, this might be a good story." Do you ever catch yourself jotting things down?
I have I probably should jot them down, but I don't. But I can remember maybe I might be somewhere watching a movie and I'll get an idea and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a story similar, but I'm just going to add some tweaks and turns here or there, and then I'll just jump right at it. So that's happened a couple times. Yeah.
That's what's up. So where can people find you?
I am on Amazon and Audible. I'm on YouTube, Google Reads, and then also my website. So jamiladsmith.weebly.com, and that's spelled WEEB as in boy, LY.com. And you'll see my movie trailers there, a short film of Cindy, and then get a snippet of the audio Sprouting Seeds there as well. So
I'm gonna go check it out because I gotta see. I'm gonna check it out because the two books you just read, I gotta see what Cindy on now.
Sure.
I definitely gotta see, because if it's selling out like that, she's showing out. So that's what's up.
Thank you.
Is so what's up. Because I love to get into them with the characters. I really do. I love to. I create bonds with characters. I don't know what it is about writing, but it's like I always have a favorite character in a book somewhere.
Yes.
It might be an offset character, main character, but I always have a favorite character. So I think Cora would have been my girl though, because I like her little sass. I like it. I'm loving it. Like it's like, okay, and she getting a kick out of this. Like, okay, so I love it. I done been in a situation like that. So it's like, okay, okay. It's funny, so that's what's up. You can write the things that people can relate to. So that's what's up. And I'm definitely reaching out because like I said, we're going to connect because I want you to, I love your energy. I would love to have you read my book on the Audible because I want to switch over and get some audio books. Yeah, we definitely going to put that in motion. So I definitely will be getting in contact with you on that. And that's for sure. And I'm pretty much, I hope a lot of people get in contact, get you going on that. That's
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got the energy for that. I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking out the time. You're more than welcome back anytime, So pick up that pen again. Think about that part 2, girl. Children's book,
Yes.
So I'm very grateful to have you on Lola's Chronicles, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
To, connect and do some things.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure being here as well. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, all right, y'all. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard her. Y'all heard her. Did y'all hear her? Okay. Make sure y'all heard her. because check her out. The stories are interesting. You can't go wrong. I love it. Y'all heard it. Y'all see where y'all can find her. Make sure y'all order them books. Go listen to them audios. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a great day. We is out.
Thank you so much. Thank
No
you.
problem.